Hey, what's going on with everybody, man? My name is Riley. Is your first time seeing my face here on YouTube? Go check out my channel and leave a like on this video. Before we roll this clip, I want to say happy Martin Luther King Day and happy Inauguration Day. Big day for America today, hopefully. And with that being said, let's go and hop right in. Today we're jumping down to my home state of Florida, where a 17-year-old teen is now in jail for causing the death in a car accident. This one sounds crazy. Apparently he's a famous TikToker or something, probably brain rot. But let's just see what this jackass did to end up killing an innocent bystander, man. I hate seeing that. I just hate seeing that. Let's hop right in. Let's go. O'Reilly. Alright, y'all, for this clip, make sure you're comfortable, grab something to snack on and something to sip, and let's enjoy this video together. I'm not too sure if this was a crash here, but this one looks pretty gnarly of a crash.
A 17-year-old drives more than 100 miles per hour, crashing into a car, killing 6 people. Now Noah Gale has learned his punishment. Is it enough? Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. It's been nearly 3 years since Noah Gale got behind the wheel of his BMW M5, drove more than 100 miles per hour, and caused a terrible crash. This happened in Palm Beach County, Florida on January 27th, 2022. And I'm going to tell you, the crash photos are absolutely horrific. The 6 people in the car Gale hit never stood a chance. You can see that Noah Gale's BMW has front end damage and the tires appear dug into the grass.
Whoa, look at this, y'all. Look at this piece right here behind the door. So I'm guessing the fender liner. There's like these metal structures that obviously, you know, just keep everything intact. He hit so hard that that metal structure behind the fender spiked through the door, or it crunched so hard that the fender, or like the panel inside the door, because there's metal brackets going from like top to bottom on each side. There's like probably 3 different layers. That crumpled so hard it pulled off that door and stabbed right through it, man. And his wheel is like 3 foot in, it looks like.
You can even see Noah's Instagram handle, m5.noah, on the window of his car. The airbags had deployed. You'd think Noah might be seriously hurt.
Tire off the rim.
A probable cause statement said when a deputy approached Noah Gale, he complained of his ankle hurting, not much more.
How?
But the car Noah Gale hit had tremendous damage. The car was on its top and appeared smashed, possibly by the impact of flipping over. Oh my gosh. There were also belongings that appear to have come from the car in the median. The probable cause statement quotes a lieutenant as saying Gale appeared to be panicking and asked for a phone to call his mother. Again, he said only his ankle was hurting. Gale also confirmed he was the only person in the car and he was the person driving. Photos of the road showed skid marks that almost looked like gouges, and one tire looked like it flew off of one of the cars. The lieutenant said he asked Noah Gale how fast he was driving, and Gale responded above 120. The Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office got a search warrant for Noah Gale's Instagram account.
First to guess the
now, some of the evidence in the case included this video. It was posted on Instagram by Noah Gale. It says, first to guess the miles per hour gets $25 Cash App. It shows people commenting and Noah Gale commenting back under his handle, m5.noah. Now, it's important to note that video was posted a couple of weeks before the crash.
Man, I just don't understand why people do stupid shit. I mean, I understand I drove some nice, fancy, fast cars before in my life. Being a mechanic, I pretty much worked on every single car. And, I mean, yeah, obviously you like going fast, you know. I mean, of course, it's in a man's blood. Some females out there, too. They just like going fast, you know. They like beating on it. They just like being in risky situations. I understand that. But for one, recording yourself and flexing you do it just literally makes you stupid. I mean, you're asking people how fast you're going. Like what? Like, Brody, that doesn't even make no sense. Now, yeah, if he was on a professional track, all right, we can see where that's coming from. But you're on the highway, probably on the turnpike or I-4. Oh, no, he said it was like Palm Coast or something. Other words, probably still on I-4, hauling ass, doing what, who knows. Some people were commenting 175 in the comment section. I know BMW M5 will probably tops out like 160. So that's fast as hell. I've been that fast, I'm not going to lie.
Deputies said it showed that Gale at that time was driving 182 miles per hour on I-95.
Never mind.
The 6 victims ranged in age from 29 to 77 years old. We've only been able to find photos of 2 of them. More than 2 months after the crash, sheriff's officials announced that Noah Gale was being charged with 6 counts of vehicular homicide.
He was traveling northbound on State Road 7, approaching the Perro family farm's entrance. The victims were leaving work from the farm, and all 6 of them, like
that's
I said,
devastating. Just think about that.
The crash, when he drove in the back, when he crashed into the vehicle, again, there was no brake applied. Our investigation shows he was traveling 151 miles an hour. It struck the vehicle from the back, which caused the vehicle to rotate. And then there were ejections on scene. 5, like I said, 5 of the 6 were already pronounced on scene. So the vehicle investigation for this one took 6 weeks of nonstop work. The sheriff was aware from at the beginning of the incident, and he asked that we do everything we get to get closure to the family. And sure enough, 6 weeks later, we're able to obtain 6 arrest warrants for the charge of vehicle homicide for the driver.
Charge as a minor. Please charge him as an adult, man. Please.
So in April of 2022, sheriff's officials said they determined Noah Gale was driving his BMW at 151 miles per hour when he drove into the back of that Nissan Rogue, carrying those 6 farm workers who were killed. At the time, the state attorney, Dave Ehrenberg, was limited in what he could say, but he spoke about this crash and another one that had happened.
It's unfortunate that too many people drive recklessly on our roadways and put lives at risk. And in cases like this, anytime we have sufficient evidence that someone has broken the law, we will prosecute them. You can't have a safe community without having safe streets.
If I hear this man's charged as a minor,
we intend to hold defendants in cases like this accountable for their actions and seek justice for victims.
As I mentioned earlier, 6 people died in that crash. We found photos of Merlane Julcius and Marie Louise. They're the only ones that appear online.
These 2.
Julcius's family actually filed a lawsuit. The crash was called one of the worst, if not the worst, in Palm Beach County.
Oh my gosh. Let me look. So this is the front of the car because the engine and exhaust is right here. Look at these rear wheels, man. And this is a front wheel drive car, so there's no like axle or anything in the rear. This car's bent so bad that both of the rear wheels are bent at like a 45-degree angle. Like I said, there's nothing connecting these 2 wheels together, like no straight axle, nothing. That means the whole frame of this car is pinched in this corner. Almost looks like a right angle. To do that in a BMW car, dude, I wonder if they can, like, during this investigation, I wonder if they could see, like, just kind of calculate how much pounds of pressure was hit, like, right on impact, like, how much torque, how much pounds of pressure caused that thing to hit like that. You know what I mean?
County's history.
Because that's
so some time had passed.
I've never seen that before.
And then earlier this month, Noah Gale appeared in court and entered into a plea agreement. He will serve 12 years in prison. Had he gone to trial and been convicted, he faced a possible sentence of up to 90 years in prison. The Palm Beach Post quoted Gale's lawyer as saying during the sentencing, "There's not a day that goes by that Noah doesn't think about his actions and what impact they have had on so many lives. He wishes every day that he had died in the accident and not the victims." Gale's attorney also said her client had been on psychiatric medication since he was 12 that could have contributed to the crash, and she noted that he has raised money for the victims. Some have questioned how Gale got such a good...
All right. So she just said, I don't know who this lawyer is, but there's another angle of those wheels, by the way. Look at that. It's just devastating. Front wheel, or rear wheels are almost towards the driver's seat. But like I was saying, he said he was under some neurological pills, right? When you take your driver's test, you fill out all those forms. You tell you tell them what you're on. You tell them if there is any sort of anything going on with you that can impair your driving. So for that, it's automatically thrown out the window. And then she adds that to a point that he was going 150 miles an hour. which is probably 2.5 times that legal speed limit in that area. 2.5 times. That's caused by some neurological medicine, bro. Like, that doesn't make no sense to me, dude. This guy's a dumbass. He did some dumb shit, and he caused 6 victims to ultimately lose their life over nothing. I mean, like, this guy should definitely deserve 50 years at the minimum, man.
Deal.
At the minimum.
12 years for killing 6
60.
people. Gail was sentenced the day before the new state attorney was sworn in. Former Palm Beach County State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg told me in a statement, "This was a horrific case. We considered the defendant's age and mostly the wishes of the victims' families when resolving this matter.
They were
The
wishing
victims'
upon
families
something else.
either supported the settlement or wanted fewer years in prison or none at all." I want to bring in Kathleen Bogenschutz. She is a former
There's no way the family. I mean, the family's a better person than me, man. Honestly, I'd want the max sentence for
prosecutor
that
down
guy,
there
bro.
in Florida.
Max.
So, Kathleen, I want your first thoughts on the plea deal in this case, the 12-year sentence, because a lot of people are questioning, wow, yes, this was not a crime of intent. Noah Gale did not go out and intend to kill 6 people, but he's essentially serving a sentence, or will be serving a sentence, that gives him about 2 years behind bars for each life taken. So how do you feel about the plea agreement and the sentence in this case?
He'll be 29 when he gets out.
So one of the first things that struck me when I was reading through the material here and going through all the videos is that the chief assistant state attorney, who would be just one under the elected state attorney, is the prosecutor who came in to plead it out. So it's clear that what they're trying to project is that this office is behind this decision, that this is an office-based decision. We're all behind it. It's not like he sent somebody who was a line prosecutor in there to go get eviscerated by the media. It's kind of a leadership type thing that everyone agrees this was the best idea. The other thing is that
everybody
we
agrees.
have what's called Marsy's Law in Florida. And for anybody that's a Googler, it's Marsy. It was passed into law in January of 19, I believe. And it says that the victim's rights are as important as the defendant's rights. And I'm obviously glossing over quite a few things there. But because the victims did not want to see him punished, and that was very clear from the state.
That's crazy, man.
That's another factor that goes into it. Additionally, there may have been some proof problems. While I don't think anybody's coming out to say that, because this is a horrific tragedy.
Right.
One of the things that you have to prove as a prosecutor in order to prove vehicular homicide is that the person that caused the crash, the person at fault, in this case, I think it's Gale or
Gale.
Noah
Gale.
You would need to prove that he was driving recklessly. And there is a litany of case law in the state of Florida that says that speed alone is not enough to prove that you are driving recklessly. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this area of Palm Beach County, it's very close to the Everglades, State Road 7, also known as 441. I was a prosecutor in Broward which is one county south, for about 9 years. And my brother actually lives very close to there. So I'm very familiar with that road. In the middle of the night, I think the crash occurred around 11 p.m.
Right.
It was weekday. It was very not crowded. I know some other people had stated that he was driving very quickly and had maybe made some calls in about it. But there was probably, this is my suspicion, that there may not have been people that were witnesses to anything other than speed. And speed alone not being enough, there's a litany of case law on it. Do I personally agree with it? No, but it is the law.
Okay, so there was a lot to kind of unpack there, but I want to hit on the speed issue. He was driving 151 miles per hour when the deputy went up to him, and he's laying on the ground and he says, "My ankle hurts." And the deputy said, "How fast were you driving?" He flat out said over 120. They determined later it was 151 miles per hour. Wow. So you're telling me in the state of Florida, the case law says 151 miles per hour speed is not enough to prove reckless driving, which is part of the whole vehicular homicide charge?
Yes, and I actually went and looked it up prior to coming on here to make sure that was actually still the law. Now, there's the fact that he hit this other vehicle, that the other vehicle went into the median, that the other vehicle flipped. I think you could probably get past that as far as the state goes, especially getting to a jury verdict. I don't know what would happen on appeal. So while I'm not a fan of the plea deal, and I don't think anybody is, that this seems incredibly low, but this may have been an agreement that both sides came to meet in the middle, that he will be doing time. He will be a convicted felon for the rest of his life. He will have his license suspended. And if you were to ask me my opinion on the license suspension, there is a capability to suspend someone's driver's license in the state of Florida for life. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, life is not life when it comes to that. And you are eligible for a business permit after 10 years. And you can pay money. So I know there were a lot of people who were objecting to his license not being revoked forever.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not being revoked forever. And, I understand he's sorry. But this is something, the driving, he had done this a lot. I mean, he would post the videos on Instagram. Noah would. I mean, he's a kid. Yes. He was 17 when this happened. He's impulsive. 17-year-old boys, impulsive, they're just not fully developed. They're not mature. They don't make good decisions. 17-year-old girls probably don't make the best decisions. But, there's a lot of people that think, and I understand the victims' families may have been on board with this and he helped them raise money and things of that nature. But still, there are a lot of people asking questions about whether or not this was indeed fair. And he is somebody who comes from a somewhat privileged background. His father is a prominent attorney in the area. And this happened, I guess, this plea agreement came together and was, brought before the court, and the sentencing took place the day before Dave Ehrenberg, who has been on this show many times, and we like him very much, before he exited office, before the new state attorney took office. So there are a lot of people kind of asking questions, like what's going on? Because I guess the current state attorney, the one who took office, said, that was under that administration. They kind of have distanced themselves from this a lot.
Yeah. And the politics of that, I really can't comment on it. I do think that the new state attorney definitely wants to distance themselves from it. The only thing that I'm trying to point out is that this may have been a mutually beneficial plea deal on both sides. The other factor is that you then lead into, I think 6 people were killed in a small SUV. So, yes. And to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't even think the Nissan Rogue can be configured to seat
It's not
6.
A 6-seater vehicle.
Right.
It seats 5.
Yeah, there's no way to do a bench seat on the front or anything like that to seat 6. So, and that may have factored into it as well, that may not have been something that the state would want to put forward at trial when somebody's willing to plead guilty and go to prison over this. So the other factor is that there's another statute known as youthful offender in Florida. And even after somebody of Mr. Gale's age is convicted of a non-capital felony, a judge could downwardly depart and would be capped at 6 years. So that's another factor in there. I don't know if in this scenario it would be appropriate for a judge to do that. I certainly know it wouldn't be popular for a judge to do that. So, but it is another factor that he would be eligible for that, but it's permissive, not mandatory as far as sentencing goes. The other thing is that his parents, I'm assuming his parents bought him the car, and it's an M3. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but that is like a racing vehicle.
Yeah, it's $100,000 car, apparently.
More than that.
Yeah, and it is meant to go fast. And so he had his Instagram name that was on the side of the car. I think that the parents have all kinds of civil liability here. I mean, if he's putting his racing name on the side of the vehicle and they bought it for him.
And it's,
I do want to say, why is it always, previously she said that his dad is a well-known attorney, and this is like the 10th video on his channel of an attorney's son, daughter, pastor, you know, someone high respect level, just doing some crazy shit, man. It's like, what are these people doing? Like, yeah, you're helping everybody else out, but your own kid's doing dumbass shit. And now, when people look at you for an attorney, they're like, oh, your son killed 6 people and only serving 12 years for it? Oh, well, they might either think that's good or bad. I mean, let's be real here. But I wouldn't hire him. Fuck no, I wouldn't hire this guy.
it's definitely there. We have the pictures of it. I mean, the pictures of this crash are horrific. So he
Always
is going to do 12 years in
bro.
prison and apparently only has to serve 85% of that. He's going to do 7 years of probation. Shit. We know probation is not fun. He will have his license suspended, Noah Gale will, for 3 years. And then he has to do 800 hours of community service. He has to
turn this video off,
victim
bro.
impact panel. He has to also post a video, which I'm interested to see. I don't know when he has to do this or when it's coming out, but he has to
Can't be on
post
TikTok.
a video on
It's banned.
social media, on his social media account, talking about, you know, why this was so bad, why this was so dangerous.
And at least that last part there, I very much agree with. As someone who is also a parent, granted my kid's not close to driving yet, but cautionary tales. This will certainly be on my list when she gets her learner's permit. And if I can find that video, I plan to play it in my house.
Yeah, most certainly. I just go back to the fact that
that's real. Good parenting tactic right there.
6 human beings died. You know, and again, this was not an intentional act, but when you drive 151 miles per hour down the road, nothing good is going to happen. I mean, when you go probably 80 or 90 miles per hour down the road, nothing good is going to happen. I think we can both agree upon that.
Yeah, and State Road 7, 441, I think the top speed in that area is something around 50. It's not a highway. It's a relatively
55, I believe.
You know, empty stretch of road, but I'm not trying to tell you this is like I-10 or I-95 or anything like that. So, I mean, completely inappropriate and a horrific loss of life.
It's just terrible. And, you know, my heart goes out to the victims in this case. Katie Bogenschutz, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate your insight and your time.
Man, this is a wrap on this crazy ass case here, man. So this guy got a super light sentence, man. I mean, 2 years for each people he killed. I mean, yeah, it was an accident. But at the same time, you're driving 3 times over the speed limit, maybe faster, and you're driving like a dumbass. So, I mean, like I said, nothing ever good is going to happen driving that fast, especially if you hit something. I mean, your chance of survival is, like, this big. I don't know how this guy came out with only a sore ankle, but, man, I guess he got double blessed on this, man. He really did get really blessed on this. He kept his life. He's only serving 12 years, so he'll be out before he turns 30, which, I mean, yeah, his whole, you know, teenage and young, the most important years of her life, I feel like, are taken away from him in jail or prison. But, man, that's 6 people, lives gone. That's 6 families, 6 different, you know what I mean? It's just like, I can't even wrap my head around it. It's crazy. And just like that blink of an eye, man, blink of an eye. Man, if you own a fast car like this, don't drive like this, man. Yeah, we get it. I mean, we all like to drive fast, but you're driving. Sometimes too fast is too fast, you know what I mean? And especially if you don't know how to handle it. If you can't handle the speed, bro, and you're just risking your life every single time, I mean, something bad's going to happen to you, man. It is what it is. I'm going to stop yapping. If you have any questions or thoughts on this video, go ahead and comment them down below. We'll be answering every single comment left on this video. Other than that, let's go ahead and roll this outro. Alright, y'all, we're going to wrap this one up right here. If you enjoy this type of content, I'm going to have a playlist linked right here in the end of the video. It's going to have all the reactions down there for y'all to check out. We'll be dropping 5 videos a week here on the channel, so it's super important y'all go down there and subscribe to the channel. Hit the little notification bell so you know when we do go live here on the channel. And other than that, you're locked in. So I do appreciate y'all watching to the end of this video. And yeah, y'all have a blessed day. And let's go ahead and get this bread. Let's go ahead and have a great rest of the day. Or if you're watching this in the morning time, make sure you have a great full day. You know what I mean? Other than that, let's go ahead and catch y'all in the next one. Appreciate y'all watching. Peace.